PBC Kids presents.
Hey PBC Kids, this is Miss Ashley coming from the Nelson household, and we're going to talk about today about how God helps families live in harmony. Now, with everything going on, we've had to stay home with our families a lot more often. And because of that, you may or may not have had a hard time getting along with your siblings or your family members. Today I'm going to show you what God has in the Bible to tell us about living in harmony. So we're going to play some games together. We're going to color together as well. So if you do have a moment right now, go ahead and grab a blue crayon as well as a yellow crayon or marker or colored pencil. And we're going to work with our siblings to kind of show how God helps us live in harmony. So God thinks that a family living together in harmony is a wonderful thing. But the truth is, families don't always get along. And I'm sure you might have had that happen already in the past couple months. Go ahead right now and pause the video and tell about a time that you did not get along with somebody in your family. It's hard for families to get perfectly along all the time. We want to be faster and better than our siblings, and that can kind of cause us to end up in a fight. We're going to play a game and explore a little bit of what that looks like. Go ahead and right now you're going to find a piece of paper. And then one person in your family has the blue crayon while another has the yellow crayon. When I say go, you're going to start each person's going to start on one end of the paper, and then you're going to race to see who can get to the middle of the paper, filling up all the paper with your crayon first. Are you ready? Go. So maybe you were able to get to the end of the paper first. Maybe you weren't the first person. But this time we're going to try it a little differently. Go ahead and flip the paper over because we're going to recycle and use the same piece of paper. Now, instead of trying to get your own way or you'd get done faster, you're going to work together with your sibling or your family member, and we're going to turn the whole paper green. But we're only going to use yellow and we're only going to use blue. So whoever was holding those crayons, go ahead, you are going to hold the same ones. But this time, we want to color the entire piece of paper. So you don't have to start on either end. You're going to work together to try to get as much of the paper green as possible. Okay, are you ready? And go. Pause the video if you need extra time. Compare the first part of the game with the second part. What was different? Well, I know in the first part, we tried to beat each other. But in the second part, we work together. When we compete, we want to win and be the best. But when we cooperate and work together, we give what we have to benefit and help other people. When families live in harmony, they cooperate and work towards the same goal. Let's talk about that. So you kind of notice in the background here that you could see part of my family. There's pictures of my family. There's times when we don't get along, and there's times when we work together to be the best for each other. Genesis is the first book of the Bible. It starts by describing how God created everything, including the very first family. Adam was the husband, Eve was the wife. Life was perfect until sin separated them from God, and life got really hard. But God blessed Adam and Eve with 2 sons, whose names were Cain and Abel. Cain was the oldest, he came first, and Abel was the little brother. What I want you to do is, if you can, try to separate the room in half right now, wherever you're standing. The first person in your family, I want them to be on the left side of the room. Everybody after that is going to be on the right side of the room, because we're going to see what happens when the first brothers in the Bible worked together or when they didn't. Cain was the older brother. He was a farmer who grew crops and vegetables. If you're the older brother or sister or oldest family member, you're going to be on the left side of the room. Abel was the little brother. He was a shepherd. He watched over, fed, and kept the family's sheep safe. If you came after, if there's more than 2 people in your family, all of them are going to be on the right side. We're going to read right now Genesis 4, 3 to 5. If you've got a Bible, go ahead and pause the video and follow along with me. That's Genesis 4, 3 through 5. In the course of time, Cain brought some of the fruits of the soil as an offering to the Lord, and Abel also brought an offering, fat portions from some of his firstborn of his flock. The Lord looked with favor on Abel and his offering, but on Cain and his offering he did not look with favor. So Cain was very angry, and his face was downcast. God was pleased with Abel's gift, but not Cain's. We aren't really sure why. Some people think that it wasn't about sheep or crops, but more about what was inside Cain's heart compared to what was inside Abel's heart. Whatever the reason, Cain got mad. Anger and jealousy came between him and his brother. What are things that come between you and your siblings? We live in harmony when we choose to come together and move on. God warned Cain that if he couldn't move on, sin would control him. Unfortunately, that's what happened. If you still have your Bibles, go ahead and we're going to stay in Genesis 4, but we're going to move on to 8 through 12. Genesis 4, 8 through 12. It continues to say, Now Cain said to his brother Abel, Let's go out to the field. While they were in the field, Cain attacked his brother Abel and killed him. The Lord said to Cain, Where is your brother Abel? I don't know, he replied. Am I my brother's keeper? The Lord said, What have you done? Listen, your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Now you are under a curse and driven from the ground, which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you work the ground, it will no longer yield its crops for you. You will be a restless wanderer on earth. The first family didn't live in harmony, and something terrible happened. When you don't get along with your brothers and sisters, you might really want to hurt them. Instead, we can ask God to give us help and live in harmony to get along. Right now, you're kind of separated from your brother or sister by like an invisible wall. Let's break down that invisible wall and let's work together as a family. So go ahead and sit close to your brothers or sisters right now. Like we just broke down that invisible wall, what are ways you can get rid of anger and bring people in your family together? Go ahead and pause the video to talk about it. Colossians 3:14 says, Above all, we can put on love because that's what brings us together. Even when we fight, we love our siblings and want what's best for them. Love binds us all together in perfect harmony. Right now, I'd like you to take a moment and around the circle with your family members or your brothers and sisters, I want you to talk about one thing you really love about each of the people in your family. Throughout the week, we're sure to have moments when our family members aren't getting along. But when you remember that God's love binds you together, we can work in perfect harmony. Have a great week, guys.